Today I'm doing another presentation, and this time it's about the TNC case study, Apple. So this case study is in the topic of its global systems and global governance. I said it wrong last time, but you know what? Globalization is a big part of it, of course. This is in AQA A-level geography. Not sure about any other exam board, but we'll talk about the specification. The arrows do not work. Okay. So the specification says that you need to know the nature and role of transnational corporations, including their spatial organization, production, linkages, trading and marketing patterns, with a detailed reference to a specified TNC, its impact on those countries in which it operates. And that is what we're going to do today. So the spatial organization of Apple, which is the one of the most biggest tech companies when it comes to phones, like iPhones, iPads. You've probably heard of them. I have one as well, which doesn't make me a particularly good person if you look if you look in what we're going to talk about, it doesn't really seem like a good thing that I have an iPhone, but sometimes you just can't do much after you learn about what actually happens in these companies. But so the spatial organization, the R&D, which is the research and development, happens in the USA, in California. So Apple employs around 90,000 people in the USA across all 50 states. 6,000 people are employed in Texas for Mac Pro assemblies. Production is in China. They outsource their production to Foxconn, which is a Taiwan-based company. There you go. Yeah, Apple outsources to Foxconn and Pegatron to make iPhones and iPads and employ nearly 1 million workers. So then these products are sold globally all around the world. The logistics hub is in Ireland, which organizes shipment of assembled iPhones and iPads around the world. Apple owns around 511 retail stores. Over half are in the US, 115 are in Europe, and 42 are in China. The production process. Apple's mainstream production or mainstream products are produced in China. So they outsource the production to established Taiwanese firms, for example, Foxconn, who compete for Apple's manufacturing contract on the basis of low production costs. There is a large young and skilled workforce which is willing to work long hours for low wages. Shenzhen was China's first SEZ or Special Economic Zone, offering a number of incentives to attract foreign companies. Talking about its strategy here, the just-in-time strategy, they have an efficient production system that maximizes the spatial organization. So the GIT strategy is that different components are shipped directly from their various original sources to the assembly complexes in China, which reduces stockpiling, having just one location in California as a warehouse. This also reduces costs and generates high profitability compared to its competitors. So talking about all the social, economic, and environmental impacts, some social and economic positive impacts are that the Apple's European HQ or headquarters is based in Cork, Ireland, which is the only fully Apple-owned manufacturing facility in the world. In 1980, Apple was pressured to locate in Ireland because of its time of high unemployment. I think the textbook said they were lured, but I thought that was a very strange way of putting it. But anyways, so Apple employs around 6,000 workers, Cork's largest private employer. It attracts a high-skilled workforce, it provides a inspiration for local education. Apple has advanced Ireland's reputation for hosting high-tech TNCs. Um, this was seen as a sort of negative, but I think it can be turned to a positive. So many of the more high-skilled workers are foreign nationals. Um, and despite there being some slight outcry about there being um like taking their jobs and things like that, despite this, it has helped Cork to become a more vibrant cosmopolitan city, and at least 60% of the workers are Irish, so don't really understand what they're on about. But anyways, uh, some environmental positive impacts is the campaign Green My Apple, which entails that there is 100% renewable energy in its facilities in the US, and they established their own energy company called Apple Energy. They removed all PVC plastics and toxic chemicals from its products and promotes recycling products though the lack of repairability is still an issue, but they do promote recycling the products. Some negative economic impacts is that Apple uses subsidiary firms to declare profits and pay a lower rate for tax. The US and EU claimed that Apple had received favorable tax treatments from the Irish government, increasing tension between the US and EU, as each claimed that Apple owed them tax on their profits. Um, and that and this favorable tax treatment can be linked to how, according to a textbook, um, Apple was lured into Ireland. So you could see a link there. Um, the EU concluded that Apple was receiving illegal state aid from Ireland and ordered them to pay 10 years' worth of unpaid taxes, which is 13 billion euro. Some negative environmental impacts were that Greenpeace criticized Apple for having products that they saw as unfriendly to the environment. And 70% of its carbon emissions are generated by manufacturing and 22% by use of product. So mainly charging the devices and all that. Some negative social impacts relates basically all to Foxconn. So Foxconn employs 1.3 million employees working to construct the Apple products. There were some issues with the labor practices, saying that there were poor working conditions and that workers worked in high security factory complexes, living on site with 24/7. So they're in these complexes, they would have like their shops, cafes, all of that. Most young migrants worked from other parts of China. Workers worked for an average of 62 hours a week for $300 per month, and half going to these living expenses. So clearly not not very not very good working conditions, clearly. There were also some child labor issues. In 2017, student interns have been found working for excessive hours against its own policies, so the policies at Foxconn. Also in 2018, quantum computers that manufacture Apple Watches were found to be employing high school students as interns. Factories in China are allowed to employ under 18s as interns or trainees. But um, because of Apple's commitment to social responsibility, following these cases, Apple demanded that only 10% of the factory's workforce could be student interns, which doesn't particularly seem like a. I mean, it's definitely in the right direction, but it's not completely avoiding the situation. You can think about that for a minute. Okay, so that was all. Now I have some past exam questions here. I have a 4 marker and a 6 marker. The figure 2 is on the next page, so you can try some of these questions. It's a very confusing graph. If I had that in my exam, I wouldn't be too happy. And here are some 20 markers. The bottom one, you have to link some of your knowledge of the UN, but does relate to a TNC, and you can definitely talk about Apple when talk about growth and stability. So yeah, thank you.